Welcome everyone, today we have a new build guide for Diablo 4. As you can see behind me, we'll be looking into a no legendary druid build. So I'm not using any legendaries and you can see my boots is even blue. So the focus of this build is to show you that it is doable to do the druid build just with a slightly upgraded weapon, and we don't even have legendaries. And what I want to show you guys is we do decent damage against elites and we do pretty fairly well damage against multiple enemies. So the first test over here you can see we'll be fighting elites, and the elites dies pretty quickly. You can also see that I'm currently on world tier 2, and it's quite a challenge after all the class getting nerfed. I'm trying to find any build that works without legendaries. So here we'll be testing out AoE damage against elites. The build is quite survivable, and you can see we will be using multiple pets. We have all the summons with the zoo build. And yeah, just briefly show you guys how the build looks like. You can see that we will be using multiple companions, and the major source of damage will be coming from the wolf companion, and the Vayne Creeper will be disabling enemies. We'll also be using a lot of resource spending and dealing more damage this way. And finally, I'll skip a little bit, I'll show you guys a whole clip at the end of the video. So over here, you can see that the build is actually quite survivable. Even though I was facing multiple enemies and also with one of the event cursed Shires, I still managed to survive. So I do think the highlight about this build is that it's quite durable. Before you get all your legendaries, you really don't want to die too often. And it was cutting pretty close though, but I still made it. And finally, at the end of the video, I've stayed a while. At the end of the video, I want to show you guys we do okay damage against the boss as well. So over here, fighting the boss and fighting any of the bosses in the dungeons, we do fairly okay damage. And the biggest highlight again is it's very survivable. I don't feel myself to be too threatened against the boss, even at difficulty 2 for the world, at level 20, we still do fairly well. So I think this build is definitely okay. I'm not saying this is the best druid build, because if you come over to the game, you can see that even though I changed my boots just now, the build itself doesn't have any legendaries. Of course, the druid build can become better if you do find some really good legendaries. I'm still farming for those, of course. So let's come over to the skill trees and I'll go through those with you guys and the logic behind it. Now we'll be using Windsmear as the resource generator and also vulnerability debuff. So Windsmear have a 20% chance of debuff on enemies with vulnerability. He also provides us with additional spirit. Now we'll be using additional spirit for landslide. So if you can find any item that provide additional skills to landslide, that's really good. Landslide does fairly okay damage, 400 to 500, and if you upgrade landslide, which allows you to trigger additional landslide with immobilized enemies with additional pillars, it's also really good. Because what you're gonna see is we'll have multiple ways of disabling enemies. So over here you can see one point will be going to Earthen Bulwark, so this way we unlock the companions. The companions have been buffed for the druid, and I can feel the wolves even without any legendaries, they do tremendous damage. So you can see my wolves are doing 700 to 900 damage when I activate them, and they're only level 4. And when the enemies are disabled, the wolves will do another 20% increased damage. So with both of the wolves, we could do over 1000 damage. We'll also be going with 3 points into Call of the Wild, doing 30% more damage with companions. Now here, 1 point will be going into each of the companions. Ideally, you do want Vayne Creeper. The Ravens, they're not a big deal, but you can see that the activated Ravens with 1 point deals about 800 plus damage. And this is the overall cost of the 6 seconds, of course. So those companions definitely shine even at 1 star. Oh, not 1 star, 1 point. And here I did have one item that provided me with 1 skill point for the companion. So what I did was I put 1 point into the wolves. You can go 3 points into the wolves, 1 point into Vayne Creeper, the poison creeper, and also 1 point into ravens. I'm currently using 21 skill points because I don't want to do 22 because in case you guys don't have it and I didn't farm all the Rhinos. I'm not going to use any of the 3 skills I got over here because I had a necklace that provides me with Worth skills +1, but we're not using any of that. Now briefly going through the rotation of the skills, what you want to do is you want to be casting your Poison Vayne to be disabling enemies, which allows your landslide to do more immobilized damage and also more pillars. Your wolves also do more damage when enemies are immobilized. You'll be casting ravens onto the crowd of enemies, and usually I just spam more of them. And if you do feel yourself to be threatened or if you're short on HP, just cast your shield with Earthen Bulwark. It's quite straightforward, and you'll be clicking left and right buttons so you can spend your resource. Now Windsmear, the resource generator over here, definitely give us more resource for the best resource generation. And the only downside of this build I feel is that although you're very durable, your companion can still die. So over here, what I want to show you guys is I was ambushed over here by the Cursed Shire, and I wasn't aware of this. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so dead, because I wanted to get the Shire right. So notice how I don't have my Wolf Companions. They will come back after a few seconds, but when they are done, you really don't have additional source of damage. Your main source of damage comes from Landslide and also the Wolf Companions and all the companions. So whenever they are on cooldown, just use them, because they are free of resource and they just cooldown dependent, and they do a lot of damage. Now sometimes the AI is a little buggy, but if they do target the same enemy, it deals a lot of damage. Now of course guys, this build becomes even better if you have those key legendary aspects. So the Wolf Companion will become werewolves and also deal more damage. And also over here your companions will do bonus damage with one additional companion. And those two are very powerful legendary aspects you should really be trying. So if you guys do get those legendary aspects, make sure you upgrade into those and this build becomes even more powerful. So what I do over here is I'll show you guys my run through of the highlights of going through the dungeons. So this is a 4-minute replay video I will show you guys at the end of the video. You can have a look at how I play. I'm not saying this is the best druid build guys, it does take me a while to kill the boss, but I'm pretty safe, I'm not dying. And we kill the boss, not the fastest, but we're still doing decent damage. And you also get to play with all your companions, which is, unlike the Necromancer with all the nerf companions, I was really feeling bad about the skeletons. The Druid companions, they're actually quite durable. And I have a pretty good fun playing this build as a Druid.
Wait a moment. I'm not ready yet. I need more spirit. I must wait a moment. I must wait a moment. Wait a moment. I must wait a moment. Of spirit. I must wait a moment. I must wait a moment. Wait a moment. I'm not ready yet. wait a moment. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Low on spirit.
If you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates, and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4.